Hey, everybody, I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. You're here to watch another episode of New Biz Buzz, the show where we talk to business owners and learn about projects that they're working on that are new, unique, or designed to help society. And today we're going to be talking to a book author whose book is designed to help society and help individuals in society. So we're looking forward to having that great conversation. Again, I'm Leon with the Leon Thomas Group. To learn more about us and the projects that we work on and maybe how we can help you, check out our website, theleonthomasgroup.com. And while you're on the net, check out our racquetball program, our youth racquetball program that we run in Baltimore. You can go there by going to racquetballrevival.com. Our guest today is Dr. Timothy Felton, and I met him through a LinkedIn connection. So, those of you that think LinkedIn doesn't work, you're wrong. You can make some really good connections and meet some really good people, and you never know how you can help them and how they can help you. I met him, Dr. Timothy Felton, through Dr. Cedric Brown, who is the host of From the AD's View. And so we met Dr. Felton. He's been a guest on Dr. Brown's show, and we've met him and found out about his book, and we said we have to have Dr. Felton on our show, and he agreed to be with us tonight. So let's bring Dr. Felton on. Dr. Timothy Felton, hi, welcome to New Biz Buzz. How are you?
Hello, how you doing? Doing well.
Good, good. It's good to see you. I'm glad that you are with us, and we're going to have a great conversation about you and your most recent book, but you also have more more than one. So let's start with that. How many books have you authored?
This current book is my seventh book that I published. I did six through self-publishing, and I did one through an actual publishing company. But the latest book is my seventh book I've published.
All right, congratulations to you. I
Thank you.
I'm struggling. I used to struggle to write papers, like essays, term papers, and here you are. You're just knocking out books. So right
Yep.
on. Congratulations to you. So tell us some about your background and what made you want to start writing. Tell us about some of your books, and we'll get into the most recent one. But tell us a little about your background and what made you want to start writing, and some of the books that you've written, and kind of an outline of what they're about, please.
Well, in high school, like I said, I participated in football and track, but I also was in the journalism club. And from the journalism club, I was the sports writer for our high school newspaper. So that's kind of where it kind of generated from. My goal was to go into college and major in journalism and communication, which I did my freshman year. But after my freshman year, I ended up getting into some literature classes that I didn't really like. So I ended up changing my majors from journalism and communication to criminal justice, where I got my bachelor's degree from Southeast Missouri State University, and like I said, later on went back to school, got my master's in human services and my doctorate degree in higher education leadership. But it kind of stemmed from, I guess, the journalism class in high school. Even though, like I said, I had a career in law enforcement, it kind of came back full circle with writing. English was one of my best subjects that I enjoyed while I was in high school as well as college. So that's kind of where it stemmed from, the writing.
hmm Now, there's a couple things that you said there that resonated with me. Number one, you said you played football in high school,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, football and ran track. Yeah.
Football and track. Now, I played football in high school also. One day. I played football for one day. I don't even think I made it through the full practice. Here's what happened. I was at my high school, ninth grade, and I'm lost in the building. I'm looking for room 323. and the bell had rung for class to start, and I was not in a classroom. And this guy comes up to me and says, "What are you doing in the hallway?" I said, "I'm lost. I'm looking for room 323." He put his arm around me, and I thought he was taking me to room 323. Instead, he took me to where the football coaches were. It looks like they were having a meeting, and he said, "Look what I found." And they all said, "Where you been? Where you
Mhm.
been? We've been here 2 weeks." I'm like, "No, this is the first day of school today." I said, "No, no, no, football, man, football." I said, "I don't play football. I play baseball, I play basketball, but not football." "Oh, you're playing football." Well, it turns out the football coach, his name was Hal Sparks, knew my father.
Mm.
And when I told him my name, he said, "Oh, you Clinton's son?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Tell your dad you met me and you're going to play football tomorrow."
Wow.
I said, "Okay." So I went home and I told my dad, I said, "Yeah, I met Coach Sparks and he wants me to play football." My dad said, "Oh, okay. Well, we got to go get you some cleats." Went out, got some cleats, came back the next day. They gave me all this equipment and you slide the pads into pockets and all that stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. Here's the end of the story. I'm on the court, I'm on the field practicing, and we did what a drill that I later find out is called the Oklahoma drill. You got to fight off a block and make a tackle, right?
Yeah.
This guy about, I don't know, 4'8". I'm 6'2". He's like 4'8", threw the block, knocked me on my butt. I got up, started walking off the field. You know, when you say talk to the hand,
Yeah.
I invented that.
Right. Right.
Let the record reflect.
Wow.
Now, I walked off the field. My father was already at the school ready to pick me up. He knew I wasn't going to last. So
Baseball
that
was.
baseball and basketball, that was my things, right? So that's it. And I have a son that's a writer. So it's good to know, others are writing. You had a love for journalism. So here you are. You have these books. Tell us about some of your other books. What are your books about?
The first one was a memoir called The Undrafted. And Undrafted was basically just a memoir of my athletic career from age 7 throughout my collegiate year. Like I said, at the age of 7, I recognized I had a gift from God to run fast. I was racing like 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, beating them at the age of 7. So went through athletics, you know what I mean? Little League, Pop Warner, some people call it. Went on to middle school and played in high school and played at the collegiate level. Had a couple of NFL workouts with the Cleveland Browns and Indianapolis Colts. But the first book kind of covers from age 7 throughout my college career playing football. So it's just a memoir of a sports journal that I've written.
Mhm,
The second book was called Never. It was a children's book that I created. It kind of came from my two granddaughters, Kimani and Chloe. Uh, Kimani is the oldest granddaughter. Her favorite word was never. So when you asked her to do something, she would always say never. So I turned that into a book. So it's like never talk to strangers, never uh, run in the street after a ball, never throw trash out the window. So that was the second book.
mhm,
I mean, the third book, I did like a guide for student athletes to kind of help them through the process with actually middle school student athletes that are high school bound and want to compete on the high school level. The next book arrived from my dissertation actually going through doctoral school. So I wrote one was called From the Hood to Being Hooded. So growing up in the inner city, taking you through kind of my educational journey. That's another memoir that I wrote. I wrote another one called For the Love of Coaching because I've coached for like 26 years from the Little League Pop Warner level to high school to the collegiate level. And then when I did my dissertation, I turned that into a book, and then this final book is called Black Boy Matters, which is the seventh book. So
mhm.
been a little busy over the last few years.
Yeah, you have. You've been rocking and rolling busy the last couple years. Good for you. Congratulations on the books. And as I've listened to you talk about what they are about, I can see how all of them are designed to help others, right?
Yes.
They're designed, they tell a story, right? You give some information about yourself, but they're designed to help others and help others make it. And so I'm so happy for you in doing that. We have on the screen now the newest release called Black Boys Matter. And if you scan that QR code, if you scan that, it actually takes you to where you can purchase all of your books, right? All of them can be purchased right there on that QR code. And so, folks, if you scan it, like you can go ahead and scan it like right now. If you're watching on your computer, take out your phone and go ahead and scan it. If you're watching it on your phone, right? If you're watching the show on the phone, here's what you do. Just come back later and watch it and grab somebody else's phone. You can also buy it on Amazon, right? Dr. Felton, these books
Yes,
are
that's
available on
correct.
Amazon.
Yeah,
So
all
you
of them
can,
are on Amazon. Yes, sir.
yeah, so you can always go there. So I'm looking forward to everybody that watches the show to go ahead and purchase Black Boys Matter. Tell us tell us a little bit more about Black Boys Matter. What made you want to write it? Tell us some things about it.
Like I said, me and one of my former coworkers, Teron Coleman, is a co-author with the book. We worked together in law enforcement, and we sat down one day and just kind of put together kind of like an outline. And what we came up with was the Black Boys Matter. It's kind of derived from like Black Lives Matter, but we just kind of focus more on Black boys. And it's actually, like I said, a book is to, kind of give you understanding and addressing the challenges that Black boys face in society. So the goal was to make sure we educate the readers about the challenges of the Black boys that they face in the educational system and the juvenile justice system, and like I said, in society as a whole. Some of the challenges may include, imprisonment, being unemployed, to also, like I said, maybe being murdered, at some point.
Mhm.
We also talk about black on black crimes. Like I said, we talk about we give some stories at the end, some black stories of black boys that we worked with over the past 20 to 30 years. It's also a chapter in there, chapter 5, deals with black perspectives. And the black perspectives comes from black boys, black parents, teachers, pastors, principals, social worker, counselor, therapists, professors, policemen, juvenile officer, athletic directors, barbers, and entrepreneurs. So I was trying to
Oh,
capture a perspective.
yeah.
So some contributing writers are in there. Chapter 4 deals with absent fathers. That a lot of the black boys deal with. Like I said, one of the studies in there was 66% of black children live in single household, you know, families. You know what I mean? So
Really?
so
Wow.
that's kind of like an overview of what the book is about. It's a pretty easy read. Like I said, it's only 5 chapters, with chapter 5 being the bulk of the book from the perspective writers, pretty much giving their stories.
Hmm. Yeah. And you have a unique perspective to write a book such as this because you're black, you were a black boy, and you worked in the juvenile system, right? And you have a doctorate in higher education administration. And so
Leadership, yes, sir.
you leadership, okay? So you've seen and experienced things from many different viewpoints. And so someone like you to be able to do that, this is just great. And we're going to talk some more about you and your book after this short break. The Leon Thomas Group on April 11th, next Thursday, April 11th, we're venturing into a place that we've never been before. We will be hosting and producing our first mentalism, think magic, show next Thursday as a benefit for the Lori Lundeen Foundation. And so here's some information about the event that's taking place on April 11th. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. Mentalist Doug Roy here. On Thursday, April 11th, I will perform a benefit Zoom mentalism show for the Lori Lundeen Foundation. In this show, I will perform fun and interactive mind bending feats that simply destroy logic, such as mind reading, predictions, and acts of clairvoyance. All proceeds for this show will go to the Lori Lundeen Foundation, a charitable outreach to those in need throughout the world. To purchase tickets for this virtual event, simply go to lorilundeen.com. We look forward to having you join us on Thursday, April 11th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for this benefit Zoom mentalism show. It's a show you won't want to miss. To learn more, just go to lorilundeen.com. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you.
So we're venturing into somewhere we've never done before, but we're going to produce it and looking forward to having a great time. Doug Roy, the magician that we're working with, he's good. He's good. He's done some things right here with us, and I'm like, wow, this guy is good. So we're looking forward to being a part of that. I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group here with Dr. Timothy Felton. He is the author of Black Boys Matter. You can buy the book, go by scanning that QR code. You can go to Amazon as well to purchase the book there by Dr. Felton. Again, the title of it is Black Boys Matter. Now, Dr. Felton, tell me one thing that those that are not black miss when it comes to black boys. I know there's a whole lot, but give me one thing that people just don't understand, don't get, don't know, don't whatever. What's one thing that those that are not black that maybe work with black boys, teach black boys, coach them, whatever, that they just need to understand? What's one thing you think, or two things, or three things?
Well, I would say creativity would be one. Like I said, a lot of times not really understanding that a lot of young black boys, when they enter to the educational system, they enter just like anyone else with different backgrounds. They come in with different core values from their families, but creativity, I think, would be one of the major things. And you have to, as whether it's a teacher or educator, you have to have an understanding of those young black boys. They may display, different behaviors, but those behaviors don't mean that they're all bad behaviors. So a lot of the times it's the creativity of the young black boy that they probably would have to understand. But to do that, like I said, first of all, you have to uh, be engaged with the young black boys, and also making sure that you are building those relationships, because building those relationships are very important when it comes to communicating with the young black boy. Um, so I think the creativity would be probably the major thing that I would have to say. You know,
Hmm. And one of the things you talked about there, you talked about the importance of relationship, right? And in our racquetball program, we have a lot of black boys that play racquetball. And first, they hadn't been exposed to the sport before, and so they didn't really know what it was. But once they found out what it was pretty cool. They liked it, right? And they've been playing a while. But I find that building a relationship with them and their parents, either the mother, if that's who they're living with, sometimes it's the grandmother, that relationship is important. But it's so critical to have a good relationship with that young man. And I can think of situations where I coached, or when I worked in business, and there would be a young black person, a young black boy working, and because of something that didn't fit the norm, or they thought should be the norm, that child was somewhat dismissed, and no one took a chance, or wanted to dig deeper into that young person, to have a relationship with them, to find out more about them. And I found that when people did that, they creativity, as you mentioned, showed up. So I hope that those that are watching and will buy your book, read your book, and then understand that there's a lot that young black boys could offer. So I hope that happens. Yeah, I hope it happens. You are also part of an initiative called Kings of Sports with Dr. Cedric Brown, Dr. AJ Anderson, and Bodine Sanders. And when we come back from break, we're going to talk some about Kings of Sports, what what brought you together, and what the goals of Kings of Sports are. I'm Leon Thomas. You're watching New Biz Buzz. Our guest today is Dr. Timothy Felton. We'll be back after these brief messages.
Renting is everything. It's style at your doorstep, off the runway, and into your closet. It's every trend you've been dying to try, and every designer you've yet to discover. It's wearing it your way every time, and making it count everywhere you go. It's never worrying about what to wear, because something new is always coming your way. That's why renting is everything. New styles, top designers, all for a flat monthly fee. Start your subscription at renttherunway.com.
Slow roasted over hickory fire and pulled by hand. This is the way pit pork has always been done. Pulled pork lovers, rejoice. The smoky old days are back at the Smoke Shack. From the creative team that brought you The Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Welcome back. Welcome back to New Biz Buzz. I'm Leon Thomas with our guest today, Dr. Timothy Felton. Dr. Timothy Felton has authored a new book. The name of that book is Black Boys Matter. You can scan that QR code on the screen and go ahead and purchase his book. The commercials that you just saw are all done, designed, produced, everything by students and recent graduates at the Leon Thomas Group. And so, if we can help you on a project that you have, please make sure you get in touch with us. You can email me. My email address is leon at the leonthomasgroup.com. Dr. Felton, you and the gentleman that I mentioned before we went to break, Dr. AJ Anderson, Dr. Cedric Brown, and Mr. Bodine Sanders, y'all have partnered on what's called Kings of Sports. Tell us some about Kings of Sports. What are your goals there, and how did this collaboration begin?
Yeah, Kings of Sports, actually, like I said, the mission of the Kings of Sports is to inspire, empower students and student athletes to achieve their full potential academically, athletically, and in life. It came about, like you mentioned earlier, through LinkedIn, which is a powerful tool. So through LinkedIn, Bodine Sanders reached out to me through LinkedIn, and we linked up first. And what we did was we started communicating. We both had books that we published. We both were former athletes. And so what we started doing was coming up with a plan and a blueprint and an agenda to try to get out to actually speak to student athletes, whether it was at the middle school, high school, or the collegiate level. And what he started doing was started sending out emails. And one of the emails that he sent it to Dr. Cedric Brown. And when he sent it to Dr. Cedric Brown, he didn't get a response back. We have a little, like I said, going joke where he kind of ghosted Bodine,
Uh-huh.
but said ended up posting something on LinkedIn. I responded to the post on LinkedIn and said, reach back out to me. We exchanged numbers, and he had just got the athletic director job up at Southern Utah University. And on his way up there for about 2 hours, we started communicating, started talking about collaborating. I told him about Bodine. He explained to me he had another guy that he knew, Dr. AJ Anderson. And so the four of us, when we just talking, we was trying to come up with a name, and we ended up coming up with Kings of Sports, kind of arrived off of the Kings of Comedy.
Hmm.
So the four where you had Steve Harvey, Bernie Mac, Cedric the Entertainer, and D.L. Hughley. And so we formed that name. We ended up, like I said, getting it established through an LLC. And then, like Sid said a lot of time, he calls me Sid, the Entertainer, which is from my hometown here in St. Louis, even though Sid name is Sid. Sid would be kind of the host as Steve Harvey. Uh, Dr. AJ would serve as kind of like D.L. Hughley, and then Brother Bodine Sanders is Bernie Mac. So he's the cleanup person at the shows. But that's kind of how we came together and collaborated together. And like I said, we all think that it was a divine connection how we connected with one another.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it is divine because, and I was not in the Kings of Sports, but I'm working with y'all on some other pieces in the background. But it's interesting that I met Dr. Cedric Brown because of one of his LinkedIn posts where he said, "I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for what has just happened." Right.
Right.
So that's how we met. I met Dr. AJ Anderson through Coach Matt Furjanic, who I worked with at Robert Morris University back a long time ago, right? When Dr. Anderson started working at Bowie State, Coach Furjanic suggested that he contact me. And to hear how you, Dr. Brown, and Mr. Saunders got together, right? If you were to look at this on the old fashioned index cards or Rolodex, we all not supposed to know each other, right?
Right.
It had to be God that brought us all together, and I'm so excited for the Kings of Sports and what y'all are going to do, and listening to your mission statement again. It's about helping others become successful. So I'm so looking forward to that happening. So congratulations and thank
Thank
you for
you.
what you're doing there with Kings of Sports. All
Thank you.
right. Now it's time to talk about some food now. Have you ever had a Maryland crab cake?
I have.
And
Uh,
where did you have a Maryland crab cake?
can't remember the play. I think it started with an M, but I can't remember the actual name of the crab
No.
cake place.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it goes back to I used to work with like high set GED students, so those students had dropped out um, here in St. Louis, and it was a young lady from Baltimore, Maryland, that ended up coming working at our facility, and she used to talk about it all the time. When she
Uh-huh.
was asking in St. Louis, do we have any crab cake places? So we would send her to crab cake places, and she'd be like, "That ain't no
Crab
real
cake place
crab
in
cake."
St.
Yeah,
Louis?
yeah. I mean,
No.
that's what she said too. She was like, "Ain't no real crab cake places. You have to go to Baltimore in order to have, I mean, like the original crab cake." So
Yeah.
probably about 3, 4 years ago, and my wife, after I graduated with my doctorate degree, took a trip to Washington D.C. We stayed in Virginia, Washington D.C., but we ended up driving up to Baltimore, and I kept telling her, I said, "Hey, uh, Miss Vera said you have to try crab cake from, Baltimore, and so
Uh-huh.
we have them here, but they more like cornbread versus, a real crab cake, so when we got to Baltimore, it's like, this is different. This is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that is the crab cake nation,
Right. Now you
city,
see,
state,
that's
whatever
right.
you want to call it. In
That's right.
Baltimore, Maryland. So I have had it.
Yes, you got it. You got it. Now, here's the thing. Here's where that question came from, right? On another show that the LTG group produces called Checking In, a lodging DEI chat. I host that show with Dr. Miranda Kitterlin Lynch. And it's pretty interesting concept. Black guy, white lady talking about diversity in the hotel business. And someone before one of our shows said, "Oh, you're from Baltimore. I had a Maryland crab cake at this restaurant in Kansas City." And I said, "No, you didn't have a Maryland crab cake." "Oh, it said so on the menu." Yeah, that's what it said on the menu,
Right, right.
right? But you did not have a Maryland crab cake. You had something that's titled Maryland
Maryland
crab cake,
cracker. Right, right,
right? You didn't
right.
have a Maryland crab cake, right?
Right.
Let's get that straight, right? So, but to hear that you came to Baltimore, now, did you have a big one? You went to
No,
G&M's. No, wasn't a big one.
it wasn't a big one.
Okay,
But I mean,
all
it
right,
was like it Baltimore cracker. It don't have to be big. It
right,
could be
right. That's right.
it could be the size of a quarter. You know what I mean? So you can, it could be a crab cake hush puppy or whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a difference. You know the
There's
difference.
there is a difference. We're gonna pull this part of the show out and send it to the mayor of Baltimore, right? We're gonna send it to the governor of Maryland, right?
Yeah,
We're gonna send this to Mayor Scott. We're gonna send this to Governor Moore. Just that part right there. When you
yep,
say it can only be, it doesn't have to be big. It's a Maryland crab cake is different. We're gonna send that out. All
definitely.
right. One more thing, and this is a question that I've actually stolen from Dr. Kitterly Lynch. If you were to give advice to your 20-year-old self, what would that advice be?
Uh, for me at 20, so I'm in college. I would have to say make sure you have an understanding of really who you are at that particular time, and whoever you are at that particular time is not who you're going to be in the near future. So my 20-year-old self, I would say the goals and dreams and aspirations that I had at that time couldn't compare to what I've done. Probably, like I said, been 33 years since that particular time. So I would say making sure that those goals and dreams and aspirations that you have with your young self at the age of 20, don't just stop there. And then, like a lot of time, I tell people when it comes to dreams, some people stop dreaming, but I tell them to dream another dream. And you
Hmm.
can always start over with dreams. So, like me going forward, like I said, I'm 53 years of age, but I still have goals. I still have dreams. I still have aspirations to do, certain things. I have more books to write. Have grandchildren now. I mean, like I said, me and my wife, our children are grown and gone. But like I said, we have grandchildren, and so it's a lot more life to live, you know what I mean? With being married, you want to make sure you keep dating, keep romance, in the picture. And the main thing for me, like I said, being a Christian, uh, God is always first and it's in everything that I do. So every prayer that I have, that I do, is with everything, whether it's personally, with family, career, writing books, all those things. Like I said, I give before God. He's given me certain gifts and talents to use, but like I said, without God, I can't do anything.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that message about how powerful God is and where He is number one in your life. Thanks for that. And also, you mentioned something that a really good friend of mine reminded me of about a month ago is to don't stop dreaming. Don't stop dreaming. A good friend reminded me of that about a month and a half ago. And so thank you for the reminder again. We've just had a conversation with Dr. Timothy Felton. He's the author of Black Boys Matter, a new book out. You can purchase the book by scanning that QR code, or you can go to Amazon to make that purchase. We want to make sure that we tell everybody about the book. So even if you don't buy it, tell someone else that you saw the show and get them to buy it or get them to buy you a copy of it. It's okay, Dr. Felton, right? If one person buys two copies, you don't have a problem with that, do you?
Not at all. No.
All right, right on.
Two
So
is better than
let,
one.
that's there you go. Let's make sure we do everything to support Dr. Felton. Dr. Felton, thank you so much for being with us. Congratulations on your recent book and all the great things that you're doing with your writing and with Kings of Sports. Thanks for being with us here on New Biz Buzz.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Folks, thanks for watching this episode of New Biz Buzz. Again, I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. To learn more about us, go to our website, Leon. The website is theleonthomasgroup.com. And if you know someone that should be on New Biz Buzz, has a great product or service, maybe they're an author, anything and you think they deserve to be on a show, would make a great guest on the show, please contact me. Send me an email. My email address is leon@theleonthomasgroup.com. Thanks again for watching New Biz Buzz. We'll see you next time. Take care.